Hello, all you beautiful people out there, and welcome to the Speedbuild. Today I was in the mood for something completely different from all the Malta stuff I have been doing lately. And I was in the mood for the Pennsylvania map because, well, it's autumn and it has these beautiful red autumn trees. And I wanted to build something lovely, beautiful, so I went with it. And I had this idea about a really huge exhibit with a view, which means that I wanted to create a waterhole in the middle of the exhibit and sort of like an intersection? Is that what it's called? Between two halves of the exhibit with two guest sections right next to the waterhole. So, people would have a beautiful view with shops and restaurants on one side and a hotel on the other side. And I think this is really something nice, a beautiful exhibit. It's sort of like the centerpiece of a bigger park. So I started building and I went with this huge circle so it could really be the center and something geometrical. I don't know why. I was in the mood for it. And I used the fancy path because I thought this is a special exhibit. So it needs a fancy path. I used the invisible fence around the path so that people could have this lovely view that I'm talking about. And I sort of think this would be something like a VIP section because, not a lot of people walk around there because it's just how the mechanics of this game work, which is a little sad, but also once you decided on this being a VIP section, it kind of works. This is the VIP hotel. It's also the only hotel in this build, so it makes it really special. And I really like it. I put lots of nature decorations and the biosyn decorations there because I feel they look really luxurious. Like these reduced shapes and straight forms and this copper or whatever it is supposed to be. Yeah, I felt like these two special VIP areas needed biosyn decorations. Yeah, and I raised the ground around the exhibit so that people had to go down into this valley, and it feels really secluded when you're down there, like you went into another world, Now that I'm adding the water, because a waterhole needs water, of course. Lots of terrain paint. I created a little mountainy side on the one circle half, and the other one was more like a meadow. I used much less rock texture than on the other half. I placed a little bit of sand and grass. So, the two halves feel a little different from each other to keep the interest going. Beautiful. Then, of course, I had to place trees. I sort of always hit a moment where I'm like, do I really want to add trees to this? I like the terrain. It's going to cover everything up. I don't know if any one of you knows this feeling. But then again, I decided on this map because I love those trees so much. So I had to place them, and I'm really glad I did. It gives this whole exhibit this lovely autumny vibe. And there are not too many trees, but it feels a little foresty, and the whole map is surrounded by forest, and it really feels like this could be a huge clearing in the forest where all the dinosaurs gather to drink. And, as a guest, you can enjoy your morning coffee on the beautiful terrace and watching the dinosaurs having a drink with you. And I don't know, I really like this idea. Of course, it doesn't work like this, because the game doesn't give the people the power to see anything that happens next to them. God knows why. I don't. I think it would be so nice if Frontier gave the people the power of sight. At least in Sandbox. I get why they don't do it in challenge mode or in the campaign mode, because it would be much too easy to achieve the goals if people could see dinosaurs from the path. No one would have to build viewing galleries or platforms. I get that, but come on. They're not blind, are they? People should be able to see something from the path, at least a little bit. Like, I know there is this mod with path that has a little viewing range. It's not big. It feels realistic. Come on, Frontier. This is something you could incorporate. Give the people a little bit of view from the path. This would feel more realistic and actually, I think, change the game quite a lot, but not too drastically. You know what I mean? Okay, so anyhow, placing decorations and stones and nature stuff to make all of this feel pretty. On the other side, where there are the shops, I forgot to record me placing down 2 viewing galleries, viewing platforms. But I actually only placed them so more people went there, because they didn't. And it wasn't my plan to have those there, so you can just ignore them, actually. They are just there so the people come to the food section. And then I placed this. Excuse me. Then I placed, of course, the entrance and the path all around it, and the monorail stations, so that people wouldn't complain about walking too far. And also, I like the idea that you could have a look from the monorail into the exhibit, into the valley with the waterhole. But then I felt like this couldn't be all, and I decided to give the lagoons another go, because, I really don't like using them, but I really wanted to challenge myself to do something different this time. So I put them there, and I chose different path color, the gray and the light gray. I don't know what this color, this beige color, the facility path or whatever it's called, to emphasize, the coolness of water. And I put down, of course, the Mosasaurus flags. I really went all out with the decorations and placed a ton of fountains everywhere. I wanted to give every section of the park, it now became a park, its different theme. Mosasaurus flags, I changed the lights of the fountains and the flags to a light blue. So we would also have a different lighting theme, color theme at the lagoon section. And I also decided to use only green trees outside of the waterhole exhibit, because, I wanted to emphasize the differentness of the separate sections. And I feel these red trees, they are so beautiful, and what a lovely idea to come down into this autumny red gold exhibit from all the greenness out there. And of course I had to add amenities. I tried to do something different than what I usually do, and created this little nook in the path that created a little plaza next to this noodly path I built. And again, lots of fountains, lots of seating, trees. You can never have enough trees. Of course, it gets a little boring with only 2 trees you can use. So later on, I decided to also place lots of ginkgo trees. And then I actually added 2 of those sections of these viewing platforms into the Valley exhibit that again have their own style. And I really like what I did with this lagoon, what's it called, sign. Fountains on top of fountains, and it's illuminated quite nicely at night. And this plaza right here next to the viewing platforms, I felt had to fit in with the whole nature-y environment feel I wanted to have this park. So I mainly used the trees and planters to give it this sort of, yeah, it looks a little bit romantic and naturey, which I like doing. And I used the Jurassic World lights in this section, as opposed to the bison decorations. They are really reserved for the autumn exhibit, waterhole exhibit in the middle. And then, of course, since I added a lagoon, I thought, okay, on the other side there has to be an aviary. So we have one of each possible exhibits, the classic one, and lagoon and aviary. And the aviary, I decided I wanted to create a jungle biome in it. So I used the seed plants, ginkgo, cycad plants in there, and created this lush, what I think looks like a little jungly environment. Lots of seed plants in the water. I added the pink rocks, orange rocks, the desert rocks, and then I thought, because they look like warm or something, and then I thought, oh, but we have the tropical rock, why didn't you use those, you idiot? And I mixed them up because I didn't want to delete the other ones I had already placed, and I'm not sure if I like this look, this mix of the 2 rock types, but I was lazy. And that's what it looks like now. And for the path flare, I guess it's called now. I guess Evo established this expression. I decided to go with arcs because, the theme of this aviary really is finny, archy, stuffy, because I have Spinosaurus, who of course has this thing on its back, and Pteranodon I added because I wanted to use the Pteranodon sign, and I don't know which flying reptile I used also, arcs, wings, thingies. So I decided to go with that for the path flare, path art. And I use these planters with the webby wooden texture, because also it feels reminiscent of a bat wing or a flying reptile wing. And I really had trouble to decide which decorations to use for this aviary, because we only have those flying reptile bronzes on the sticks, and I don't know, I really didn't like those because it feels so rustic and it didn't really match the vibe of the whole park I had built until then. So I reluctantly decided to use these planters. I like them, but yeah, I don't know. I don't think it looks especially flying reptile-y, but yeah, what do you do? We don't have much choice here. By the way, if you have a better idea what decorations to use for an aviary section, feel free, and you're very welcome to share with me, because I was really at a loss here. And by the way, I choose the fancy path with the facility path because of the warm color and, you know, the tropical jungly theme I chose, I felt like the gray wasn't going to fit the motto. And I think it turned out quite nicely. As you saw, I added this little watery decoration, an area where I sort of continued the tropical foliage to leap into the outside a little bit. Yeah, and lots of flags, lights. I had to put an attraction next to the little lake I built because no one was going there, even though there is a viewing platform and the view is quite nice. But it felt so deserted, I had to create some interest for people to go there. So it didn't do much, but at least from time to time you see 1 or 2 people walking around in this section, so it looks a little bit more lived in. Yeah, this is the other little plaza with the reviewing platforms into the autumny waterhole exhibit. Quite simple, but nice. I like it. Here is the water thing I was talking about. It didn't come up yet. Okay. So as you see, I continued the ginkgo and fruit, I think, foliage out here. Just so to, you know, carry something from this jungly mood outside. And this is where I placed the bathroom. Okay. But right next to the bathroom, or I think I'm going to move the bathroom and place a attraction there because, as I said, no one was going there. Then I had to figure out, I create a little seating section here. And then I had to figure out how to decorate this huge plaza right in front of the lake and the amenities, because it looked so empty, and I decided not to use fountains because I wanted to reserve those for the Lagoon section. And I tried a few things, and here you see me do what I decided to keep. Because I tried a lot of things. I just built these little circles of these wooden screeries. This I quite like, this little installation with planters, lights, and those webby planters. I added lights later behind the wooden, what are those things called? I have no idea. Can you please tell me what this is? There I placed the lights, and I later went to change the colors of the aviary section to pink and orange to give it this lovely warm glow that fits the mood of tropical and jungly. This is the attraction I built so that people would actually go there. And now for the entry section, I was at a loss. I didn't know what to do with the entry section because I wasn't planning on building a park when I started this. And I just went with this little roundabout, I should say, around the train station, the monorail station, with trees and rocks and a fountain in the middle. But I used the flags to sort of indicate in which direction people had to go if they wanted to see the lagoon or the aviary, and I placed the fountains in the direction of the lagoon and these webby planters in the direction of the aviary. It sort of communicates what people can expect. No, it really doesn't communicate what people can expect, but it's like, you know, I'm a graphics designer and I would call this an orientation guidance system. It indicates the direction you have to go to find what you are looking for. And since we don't have something like this, we only have signs and those flags. I had to use the decorations to make sure people went into the right direction. Then again, this park is a circle and you can never go the wrong way. You're going to get there anyhow. Yeah, so now I'm placing the final decorations, lights and bushes and trees. I'm going to use the ginkgo trees. Here I tried using the autumny trees to see what came up, because there are some green trees in there too, but it sort of just gave me orange trees, and then I had to switch it for ginkgos and the individually placeable green trees. Lots of rocks, because what else can you do? Bushes, rocks, lights, and and to emphasize the lagoon side of the park, I placed a little river and lake there on this side. So you know, so the whole side is much more wet and watery. Fantastic. But I think it looks kind of nice. It goes right behind the lagoon, and the monorail is sort of passing over it and following this little river. And I think it's kind of romantic and nice. Behind the second monorail station, I didn't want to put too much forest, so I left a little bit of space for a meadow so that people didn't have to look at just trees while walking there. Yeah, that's it. Lots of nature, decorating the little pond or lake I built. There you see a monorail passing by. I think it's quite nice. It's really it feels so natural but not random. You know, it feels decorated. And I know it's just a big waste of space, but I wasn't planning on filling the whole map with exhibits, because I wanted to stick to just those three. And it felt like the right opportunity to do something like this. And here I go replacing the trees on the forest edge with more ginkgo trees. So you would have this autumn foliage peek through the green trees, but not be this overwhelmingly red mass. Because, you know, I wanted to differentiate the waterhole exhibit from the rest of the environment, and this wouldn't have worked if I had just placed the autumn trees everywhere around the park. So yeah, now I'm lining the path with bushes and lights to finalize everything. I'm separating the bathroom section. I quite like doing this lately so that people don't have to walk by the toilets all the time or sit next to them. So I separate them a little bit. people walking around in circles. So I moved the sign a little bit, and there you go. This is the park. This is the lagoon section. I quite like it. The monorail passing by and over it. I really like the use of the monorail in this park. I usually don't use it that much, but here it frames the whole thing, and I think it's kind of cool. It's like a separate experience. Yeah, so I hope you like this build. Maybe it gave you some ideas. I really like the idea of these seating sections I did in the middle of the main exhibit, in the middle. Again, this was the whole reason I built this. I wanted to build something like this beautiful morning coffee place to sit and watch dinosaurs have a sip from the waterhole, where everyone gathers and lives happily and peacefully next to each other. Lovely. Yeah, so there you go. This is my little impromptu build for you. This is quite a long video. I hope you enjoyed it a little bit. I don't know if anyone's still here. Please let me know if you're still there, because you get a special place in my heart if you are. Okay, thanks for watching. I hope you liked this. Please leave a like or subscribe, or do both. Leave a comment. What do you want me to do next? Have a good day. Bye.